Tariffs are set at 125%. And the Chinese are essentially saying that the tariff policy coming from the United States is a joke.
The move comes after the Trump administration raised import taxes on some Chinese goods to 145%. The United States and China are refusing to back down as the world's largest economies ramp up tensions on trade. Now, China announced Friday it would raise its retaliatory tariffs on American goods to 125%.
Trump just lost $10 trillion in a single week. Let that sink in. The same guy who boasted about being the ultimate dealmaker, the business genius, just oversaw one of the biggest economic bloodbaths in recent history. I mean, this isn't some liberal talking point. This is cold, hard math. His own supporter, billionaire Ken Langon, called Trump's tariff formula completely irrational.
Negotiate the global trade agenda that has ripped off the American people for far too long. As he said, this is going to be a period of transition.
White House press secretary briefing Friday, Caroline Leavitt defended the president's economic strategy.
He wants consumers to trust in him, and they should trust in him.
It's like calculating your mortgage by dividing your shoe size by how many pets you've owned. And guess who's paying for this economic tantrum? Hint, check your grocery bill. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. So what exactly is this magical tariff formula that crashed the economy? Grab your calculators, folks, because this is where things get really stupid.
Now, China announced Friday it would raise its retaliatory tariffs on American goods to 125%. The United States and China are refusing to back down as the world's largest economies ramp up tensions on trade. The move comes after the Trump administration raised import taxes on some Chinese goods to 145%.
Trump's big brain formula works like this. Take exports, subtract imports, then divide by imports. That's it. That's the formula that's supposed to fix America. I'm not making this up. This is literally how the administration decided to calculate tariffs. It's like they grabbed a sixth grader's half-finished math homework and turned it into national policy. Even Ken Langon, a billionaire who donated to Trump, called it completely irrational. When your own rich friends are calling you out, you know you've messed up. It's the economic equivalent of your mom telling you your outfit looks terrible. If even she can't pretend to like it, you're in serious trouble.
Tariffs are set at 125%. And the Chinese are essentially saying that the tariff policy coming from the United States is a joke.
You've got the big banks coming out today saying that we have uncertainty, and you heard that word over and over.
We were saying this with Major Garrett in the 5 o'clock hour earlier today. The market really entered oversold territory.
John Oliver absolutely nailed it when he compared this formula to trying to figure out the square footage of your home by dividing your phone number by your dog's age. Beautiful. Perfect. Chef's kiss. It captures exactly how disconnected this formula is from any kind of economic reality. It would be hilarious if it wasn't, destroying our economy. Economists across the board are scratching their heads. One Harvard professor said it's like a child playing with matches in a room full of dynamite. This formula has no connection to how tariffs actually work. It's like Trump saw some numbers, didn't understand them, and just made up a random equation. Math is hard, let's just do whatever and call it genius. The most telling moment came when reporters asked White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt to explain the formula. Instead of even attempting to defend this mathematical monstrosity, she just deflected and blamed Elon Musk and Peter Navarro. That's right.
Then followed by Thursday, a flirtation with losses that could have seen a halt in trading.
Says uncertainty is the name of the game. We heard that from Jamie Dimon in that earnings call from JP Morgan Chase earlier today.
Yeah, we heard him say turbulent.
She threw Trump's own advisor under the bus, rather than try to explain this nonsense. It's the political equivalent of saying, the dog ate my economic policy. The formula completely baffled business leaders and economists because it bears zero relationship to standard tariff calculation methods.
But she didn't exactly say whether or not there are plans for a conversation or whether or not the president is waiting for President Xi to pick up the phone. So there perhaps is some wiggle room there. The administration, the press secretary said earlier today that the president is essentially wanting to make a deal here, optimistic about those chances.
It's like someone tried to fix a computer by hitting it with a banana. There's just no logical connection between the tool and the problem. While economists were still scratching their heads over this banana-to-computer approach, the markets didn't wait around to give their verdict. Remember Trump's promise that everything would improve rapidly, making people richer? Well, his magical formula actually wiped out $10 trillion in global market value faster than you can say economic genius. That's right, $10 trillion gone in a week. Poof, like when your drunk uncle tries to do a magic trick at Thanksgiving, but instead of pulling out a rabbit, he sets the tablecloth on fire. The fallout hit America's heartland particularly hard. Farmers in Iowa, who shipped out a whopping $13.5 billion worth of produce last year, aren't exactly thrilled about Trump's economic wizardry. One farmer publicly worried about what it's going to do for some of the other stuff that we will purchase throughout the year, whether that's equipment parts, chemicals in the future, fertilizer prices. Translation: Trump's brilliant plan is making it impossible for the people who actually grow our food to afford the things they need to grow our food.
Well, first of all, the stock market clearly needs a therapist to deal with all the wild mood swings that we've seen across Wall Street the last week and a half. And so that term, I think, throughout all of earnings season, because it is so difficult to project what the next step is going to be in tariffs. And then
Galaxy brain economics at work, folks. But the most beautiful part of this economic dumpster fire? Trump's epic flip-flop. After boldly declaring that if we delay the tariffs, it will be panic, and America doesn't need to panic, guess what President Mathematical Mastermind did next? He announced a 90-day postponement of tariffs. This is like declaring you'll never eat ice cream again while already holding a chocolate cone behind your back. The panic must have been absolutely delicious behind closed doors. Even the European Union, which had been fighting these tariffs like cats in a bathtub, suddenly did a complete 180 and accepted Trump's 90-day olive branch. They basically said, fine, we'll take 3 months to prepare for economic Armageddon. China, on the other hand, isn't playing ball at all. They've made it crystal clear they won't be bullied by Trump's demands and have vowed not to give in. This means Americans are now paying higher prices for goods from countries like Brazil, Indonesia, and Vietnam as these nations adjust their pricing. So much for making America great again. We're just making everything more expensive. If that's not bad enough, Trump's brilliant plan is on track to vaporize 300,000 American jobs if he sticks with it. I guess when he said he'd create jobs, he meant creating jobs for unemployment office workers who will have to process all those claims. So here's the kicker, folks. As Mark Zandi from Moody's Analytics puts it, this tariff situation is just dark variations on a dark theme. There's literally no good outcome here.
All three major indexes closed in the green. The Dow was up more than 600 points. The Nasdaq and the S&P 500 both rose about 2%. Now, despite the back and forth, the White House says President Trump is optimistic he can work out a deal with Beijing.
The economy would crash into recession before the government even collects a penny in tariff revenue. That's like planning a lemonade stand that bankrupts your entire neighborhood. And who pays for Trump's economic temper tantrum? Not him. It's regular American families facing higher prices on everyday items. Your groceries, your clothes, your kids' toys, all more expensive because Grumpy Trumpy wanted to play world economic chess without knowing how the pieces move.